Good morning, students. So here we start with our last lab for this semester, week 15. We will do the questions based on the static method. So here I have the lab exercise. The first question is, write a static method that takes as input an integer value and then returns the sum of all integers less than the value. So for example, if the user inputs 6, then the sum should be 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1, or 1 2 3 4 5. But if the input is negative, it should the output should be displayed as -1. So for example, if the user inputs the value 3, then the sum of the value should be 1 plus 2. 3 should be included. So if any negative number is given, for example -3 -4, the output should be -1 and the number should not be added. Alright, so let's start with this. I will create a main class. I can do all these things in the main class. Alright, so let me just give it a name, week 15 exercise 1. Alright, fine. Now I'll try to take the input from the user, so I will have to make use of the scanner class, import java.util.scanner. First of all, I'll create a method over here. Alright, we need to create a static method. So let me just try to give a name for the static method, then I will take the number from the user. Alright, take the number from the user. So what basically we need to do, first of all we need to take the number from the user, then that number should be passed as a parameter to the method, and then in that method we will do the calculation. Alright, let me just first of all do the basic code, which is our method. So we need to create the static method, public static. Let me just give it a return type int, because it should return integer, and calculate sum. Let me just give it a method, calculate sum, or let's just check what's the name of the method. Okay, the name of the method is not given, so calculate sum, and I pass over here a parameter value. Now what we have to do, we have to calculate the sum, so I must have a variable called sum, and it should be initialized to 0. Then what I need to check, whatever number the user has input, it should be greater, it should not be a negative number. So if n, let me just take it a number. Alright, if number, whatever the number user has given, if it is greater than 0, what are we going to do? We are going to add the numbers. So for int I is equals to 1 and I is less than num, not equal to, less than equal to. Why? Because the question says it should calculate the sum of the integers less than the value that the user has input. So I plus plus. Alright, then what will I do? I will just do the sum. Sum is equals to sum plus I. Alright, and then let me just close the for loop. Alright, now else part. Else if n number is greater than 0, then it should calculate the sum. Else what it should do, according to the question, what it should do, it should return me the sum as -1, right? So it should return me the sum as -1. What is the sum I have initialized to 0? Sum is initialized to 0, so 0 minus 1 will always be -1. So I can do like sum is equals to sum -1, because it is 0. Alright, then after this if statement, because public static int, I have to give some return type. no, not void, not nothing I have given over here, so that was an error over here. Alright, now it should return the sum, return sum. So it should return something, so sum will be returned by this. Now, okay, public static, alright. Yeah, because we have not completed it, maybe let's complete it. So it's completed here. Alright, then this is completed. Yeah, because of this. Okay, let's start. Let's take the value from the user also, because maybe because of this it's giving me. Alright, because I must write this method outside the main method. Alright, so that's why it's giving me an error here. Let me just close it and let me close the main method over here. Okay, public static void main string args. Alright, it's closed here, it's closed here. Alright, okay, we will check it later. First of all, let me just try to take the number from the user. Scanner input is equals to okay, maybe because of this. Alright, let's check it later. Okay, I think so. Now it should be correct. Alright, so classes, okay, let's just finish the code, then we will check the error. Is equals to scanner input is equals to new scanner system.in. so I'll take a number from the user, maybe integer number, and then I'll ask the user to enter a number. System.out.print enter a number, so plus number. Alright, now what do I need to do? I need to call the method. That's it. Okay, so I have to take the input from the user. Number input is equals to input dot next int, and then I will call this method. So because it is returning a value, so I have to do it system.out.print the sum is, I have to call a method plus calculate sum, and inside, because I should pass parameter over here, so I will pass the number variable. Alright, okay, so number okay, let's check. Okay, the error is okay here, because we have not taken a number yet from the user. Alright, so for example, now if I take the number, put the number 3, enter a number 3, now it should add 1 plus 2, so the sum is 3. If I add, for example, number 6, enter the number 6, so it should do 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. 6 will not be added. Let's check. It's 15, right? Now if any input negative number is input. If I input any negative number, -5, it will not do sum, nothing, it will just display me -1. So -1. I'll explain the program again. What I have done, I have created a method which takes one parameter because I need to calculate the sum. I have initialized the sum variable to 0. Then I am checking because according to the question my number should be positive. If number is positive, what I have to do, I have to sum the number, calculate the sum 1 less than whatever the value the user has input. So here I am calculating the sum. Now if it is a negative number, -1 should be displayed, nothing else. So what I have done over here, sum is initialized to 0, so 0 minus 1 is -1. Then at the end I am returning the sum. And here in the main method, what I have done, I have taken a number from the user and then I have called the method. Now remember that I have created this method outside the main method, but it should be inside the class. Now if you see here, my class ends here, the method is inside the class but outside the main method. Alright. Alright. So moving ahead, let's move to the second question. Now second question is, write a static method that takes as input an array of integers and returns the average value in an array. So here we are going to take the an array from the user and we are going to calculate the average value of the array. Remember, the average is calculated as sum of the elements divided by the size of the array, and we are going to create a static method. Alright, so let's start with this. Let me make it week 15, exercise 2. Alright, so this is you can take the elements of the array from the user, or it's up to you, or you can use the scanner class. I will do with the scanner class, import java.util.scanner. So I'll take the size of the array as well as the number of the elements from the user. So let me just try to take the then I will start with the method. Alright, so it has to calculate the average. Alright, let me just scanner input is equals to new scanner system.in. I'll take the elements from user. Alright, system.out.print, enter the size of an array. Let the user enter the size. How many elements? 10 elements, 5 elements, or how many elements? Enter the size of an array. Alright, so int size is equals to input dot next int. So user will enter the size. Now here I can declare my array to be of the size int array is equals to new int, and here I will pass in the bracket, I'll pass size. Alright, so the size of my array is defined by the user. Now I have to take the elements of the array from the user. I'm not going to define anything inside the program, rather I'll take dynamically from the user. So we know that how to enter the elements of the array. System.out.print println enter the elements of an array. So let the user enter now the numbers of the array. So we know that we have to use the for loop for int I is equals to 0, I is less than array dot length and I plus plus. So array I is equals to input dot next int. Let's try up to here. So my first part has been completed. I have defined an array, taken the number. Now I have to write a method to calculate the average of the elements. Let me try with it first of all, whether it's working or not. Alright, 4 elements, 12, 15, 1, 13. Alright, so this part is okay. Now what we have to do, we have to create a static method in which I will calculate the average of the elements of the array. Alright, but here then I will come over here inside the main method to call the static method. So that method will be created outside the main method. Let me just write the name public, because it's a average, so average is normally it can be in decimals also. I will make it a return type double average, and I will pass over here int array. You can give any other name, int array. Alright, so first of all I have to calculate the sum. Double sum is equals to 0 as usual. Then we know how to calculate the sum for int I is equals to 0, I is less than array dot length I plus plus, and then I will calculate the sum. Sum is equals to sum plus array I. Right, I have calculated the sum. Since it returns something, what will I return over here? Return, I know what is the sum. Sum divided by array dot length. So now this portion will return me the average of the array. Whatever is the average of the elements of the array, it will return me. Now here I need to call this method. So what will I do? In the system.out.println, the average of the elements of the array is. So I am not going to use ln. What is it? What will I do? Plus, what is the method? Average. And what do I need to pass over here? I need to pass over here array. So I will pass over here it should return the average, so I'll pass over here my array. Alright, now let's try with this. Alright, so let me just make the size as 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sum of this is 4 plus 3, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 divided by 4 is 2.5, I guess. So yeah, here I have an error over here. Sum is equals to array plus I. That's why it should be 2.5. Yes, let's check it again. I'll take the same number 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 2.5, so it's working. All right, going ahead. Now what we have over here, we need to write a static method. It should print the triangles. Now it should print the triangles, and it should take some number 5, then it should print something like 1 2 3 4 5. So if you see, first row has 5 columns and it has 5 rows. So 5 means it has 5 columns and 5 rows. But what it is printing? 1 2 3 4 5 in the first row. In the second row, one column is decreased. 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3, 1 2 and 1. So how many rows? 5 rows and 5 columns, but with at each row one column is decrementing. So if I pass 6, it should have 6 rows and 6 columns. With each subsequent row, each column is decremented. So if I pass 3, so it will have 3 rows and 3 columns, and with each subsequent row, one column is decremented. So if it is 1 2 3, 1 2 and 1. All right, let's try to make the method over here. All right, let me try to make it week 15, exercise 3. Exercise 3. Let's try to make a method. First of all, I don't need to take anything from the user, so no need for the scanner class here. I just need to call the, now what I should have over here. Now my method should take some number, so as to know how many rows and how many columns it should have, right? So let's try to do this. So for doing this question, let me just start preparing a method. First of all, let's just try to do with the method. This should not return anything, so public static void, the method is, I guess, print triangle, and it take print triangle numbers. Print triangle numbers, and it should take some integer in, right? All right, now if you see in this, if you observe a pattern, it's like printing straight 1 2 3 4 5 1 2, then every time it is decreasing by one column, right? Now if you can recall from the for statements, we have tried to print these type of patterns many times. In order to print it, we will use the for loop. In order to print this type of patterns, we need the nested for loop, right? So in order to print this number, if I want to just print this number, if I want to print it for int I is equals to 1, I is less than equal to 5, and I plus plus, so what it will print? System.out.print, if I just write it, I. Alright, now it will just print 5 numbers. Okay, because I have declared it inside the method, that's why. Let me just try to ignore it, and let me try to do it over here. If I try to do this, let me just check for int I, sorry, for int I. Alright, so it will print 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, let me just give a space between it. Alright, I have to print something like this in the next line also. Now in the next line it should print 1 2 3 4, then it should print 1 2 3, then it should print 1 2, and then it should print 1. Now if you see, it's decreasing by one column every time, right? So what will I do? Let me just create a method, public static, it should not return anything, print triangle numbers. Now here it should take some number, NUM maybe, right? Alright, now here if I will copy this code over here. Now it is just printing this 1 2 3 4 5. Now every time I have to decrease the column. Alright, for decreasing by one column, let me just make a variable called as size, and let me just make it equal to number. Now this is, I will keep on decreasing. Alright, so let me just do something like this, because here I will call a method. For example, I call a method print triangle numbers and 3, because 3 means it will print 1 2 3 1 2 and then 1. Alright, so what I have done, I have declared a size variable, and I have made it equal to the num. Why num? I will explain you later. Now here I will go with the columns. So let me just do something. I go with the 0, and what will I do? I will keep it less than the variable size. So for example, if it is 3, size will be initialized to 3 over here. J is less than 3, and then J plus plus. Alright, now as we know that we should have a nested for loop also. Now I will have another for loop inside this, one for the columns, another for the rows. Now what will I do? I will start it from 1, and I will make it to the size. Okay, let me just make it to the y3, because user will pass over here. Let me just make it to the size. Alright, then what will I do? It should go up to the size of n, 1 2 3, which is number of rows, 1 2 3. Every time we are decreasing the column, and then what will I do? I plus plus. So what will I print over here? I am going to int I is equals to 1. I'll print the value of I over here. Alright, so this will come inside the first for loop. Now outside the first for loop, system.out.print ln, and that's it. This is how we have learned already the programs when we were doing the for loops. Then what will I do? If you see, every time a column is decremented by 1. So what will I do over here? I will make the number, this variable, decremented by 1. Alright, so let's check over here whether my program runs or not. Here it should be number, num. Alright, now it should print 1 2 3 1 2 and 1. Let's check. Yeah, it's printing. So what I have done, I have given the size as it is. I am starting from 0. Let's assume that size is 3. So number will be initialized to 3. So what is size? Size is 3. I am starting from 0. 0 should be less than 3. So this loop will continue from 0 1 2. Now what I am doing over here, every time I am decrementing the number. So it was 3. Then it is made to 2. If you see over here, I is less than equal, number is decremented. Next is 2. So what this loop will do, it will run for 2 times, then it will run for 1 times, it will just print the value of I, which is 1. Alright, so same thing if I try to do print triangle, wait, let me just copy it, print triangle number. If I try to pass the value 5, now it should print 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4, both of them. Alright, so see here, first of all it is printing 1 2 3 1 2 1, then 1 2 3 4 5. Just to make a separation between them, system dot out dot print. Okay, alright, so if you see, if the first one will print print ln, I have to use here print ln, that's why it's printing in the same line. Alright, so if you see 1 2 3 4 5, and next time the value of number, what we have done, it's decremented by 1, so column is decremented by 1, it is printing 1 2 3 4. Next time again it is decremented by 1, it is printing 1 2 3, and the size is increasing. So this is how you can do it. So thank you so much. These are the 3 programs given for this question. Same thing you can call it another time by passing the integer 6. You can pass integer 8, 10, whatever you want to pass. So thank you so much for this lecture.